back to another EDH deck tech. Really excited about this one today. It has been a while. Neo Dynasty didn't particularly inspire me too much itself. What it actually did was inspire me to look back at the old Kamigawa block. I wasn't playing around then, so I didn't really play with any of these cards. So it was quite good to look back a bit at the history of Magic and where Mono Black was and where it is now, and try to have a little comparison about, okay, now that we have all these new cards, what's can we do with some of those old commanders? So it was actually quite a fun little project. I've got 3 Kamigawa decks coming along. So for today, I've got Maga, Traitor to Mortals. So this one really came about from my Asmodeus, the Archfiend deck, where it was like big ramp, big black mana, and basically I was like, okay, well, how far can I push this? Let's just go all out, big ramp, and see what kind of deck we can build from that. And this commander really lent to that, because essentially all it's doing is just trying to get X as big as possible. So we have a few X spells, some that you would typically see, some that you wouldn't typically see, to try and I guess hit opponents. Now this is only target opponents, so we need something to kind of cushion the life total. I did find that in games, people's life totals will dwindle over the course of the period. So X doesn't have to always be that high. But it has been a lot of fun. A big weakness, straight up, life gain. Obviously a huge weakness. I have not got any infinite mana combos in here, although that's something that you could definitely do. Obviously, you can try to work some infinite mana into here, and then some sack outlets, recast your commander, hit everyone, right? So that's simple enough to do, but this I just tried to go, okay, how much permanent ramp can I get, and let's try and see how high X can be. So yeah, we'll go through the deck. So first up is ramp. So normally I do ramp a bit later in the deck text, because it's not really the most entertaining, but ramp is so important for this deck. So we will go straight up into it. Everflowing Chalice first up. It's 0, but it can kick, so X can be essentially whatever we want. So later on in the game, we can really dump some of that mana, because we are, we're going to have a lot of that mana, so having somewhere to dump it, and then for the next turn, try to hit something big, it's been great. So I have this one, Bubbling Muck. We play a lot of swamps, we want to double them up, so that's great. Dark Ritual, simple, just get that ramp out as soon as possible. Soul Ring, classic. Wayfarer's Bauble, again, get those basics out and in onto the battlefield. Arcane Signet, nice and easy. We've got a lot of 2 mana rocks here. Cabal Ritual. Threshold I have found to be somewhat difficult in this deck to achieve. So this one might be one of the kind of weakest ones. But anything is good enough, even that 1 extra for the X. Charcoal Diamond comes in tapped, but we're pretty slow in this deck, so that's okay. Doubling Cube, this one's been fantastic. Obviously once we start getting doubling that 5-6 mana, we're getting 12 mana. It's quite nice actually. Fellwar Stone, nice 2 mana rock. Jet Medallion, we have a lot of black permanents, but obviously still a lot of artifacts, so you don't get as much value than normal, but the reduction is still nice. Mind Stone can help to draw us, but I don't often crack this with this deck. I want to kind of keep, for X as big as possible. Thought Vessel, the maximum hand size is not usually relevant, but it's 2 mana rock. Burnished Heart, just to get some of those lands out. Extra Planar Lens, so this one's really, really nice to kind of get that double land. I am playing Snow Swamps, so that, you're least likely to impact your opponents doing it with Snow Swamps. That's great. Worn Power Stone, it's just tapped. It comes in tapped, but it still taps for 2, so pretty good. Crypt Gas, double those. Get some Extort for some padding of that life total is quite nice. Hedron Archive, again, just to get that 2 colorless. I haven't found that I cracked this too much. Summons Lacrium, get that Swamps. Thran Dynamo, 3 colors, quite nice. Gauntlet of Power, probably the one that can kick you the worst because this does apply to swamps, even though we're playing snow-covered swamps. So it can help opponents, but really, I don't care. I just want to get as big as X as possible. Gilded Lotus, you know, we're mono black, so it doesn't really matter what color. It's just a 5 mana rock that produces 3. Magus of the Coffers, we play a lot of swamps, so this can be quite nice. Caged Sun, you know, great. We want to get that mana doubling. The kind of Revenant, again, mana doubling. And Crick, Son of Yawgmoth, just, you know, to pay that Phyrexian. Ultimately, we're not too concerned about our life too much. So other than, you know, being scared that our opponent's going to take us out, but it's good that we can use it for mana. So that's the mana ramp. Of course, you can stick, you know, Mana Crit, Mana Vault would be great in these decks. I don't have a copy of those, but they would definitely go well in this style of deck. So next up, so after ramp, what are we using this ramp for? Essentially, so I've got a whole bunch of X spells. Unfortunately, black has a lot of these kind of consume spirits kind of spells where it's deal X damage to target creature or player, and you gain X life. So just dealing the damage, so essentially it's a lot of the same as what our commander's doing. So again, with the padding of the life totals, you know, we're going to hopefully be able to take at least somebody out and then try to do it again the next turn with somebody else. But a lot of these are target players, so, you know, you got to keep that in mind because once you do this, you know, you're going to be targeted by the other 2 players. So, you know, but essentially, you know, and we can only do black mana. So we do have a lot of colors ramp, but, you know, we still have a lot of black mana, especially with the black mana doublings. We can often still get quite a higher exit here. Drain Life, same thing. Just another one. It's a, you know, nice older version written strangely. Sanguinate, so this one's each opponent, so this is probably one of the better ones, where you're going to get all that life padding, which is really nice. So this is probably one that I would like to see when it comes to late in the game as opposed to the others. But you know, we've got quite a bit of redundancy. Profane Command. So this one has quite a few modes, the main one being target player loses X, so we don't gain any X out of this, but we can choose 2 others, so it can serve as a bit of a removal, or return something from the graveyard. The fear is usually not relevant. Sometimes I have swung in with a huge Maga, but that's really only happened once, so yeah. Minute Hellfire, of course, is the classic one. We are, of course, producing a lot of X, so this is probably your main win condition outside of your commander, obviously. So if you're desperate, the game's gone too long, you know, we can get this in. Then we got Crypt Rats. So pay X. This is going to deal it to each player. So this one's nice to kind of set the life totals to start coming down. Really hit everyone. Of course, only black mana. And then Soulburn. This one can put red into the mana cost. But of course, we are only putting black into it. And we're going to gain life. And it is target player. And it is 3 mana, so it's a bit more expensive. If we really need to, we've got Erebos, God of the Dead, just to draw some cards. I don't have a lot of card draw because I've really went all out on ramp and some redundancy in those X spells. So Erebos, God of the Dead's nice for us to put some of that extra mana in. Kokusho, just to help pad some of that life total for ourselves and also to start getting our opponents down. Massacre Worm for a bit of removal for people that want to go wider. We're in black, we can kind of deal a lot with single target removal and things like that, but you know, helping with the life totals as well. And then Wound Reflection. I love this card, man. Wound Reflection is one of my favorite cards to play. Of course, with Maga, there you're going to do that damage and then it's going to double for Wound Reflection. So really nice card. Obviously 6 mana, quite high. Then Archfiend of Despair, same thing. So our opponents can't gain life. Same with Erebos. Our opponents can't gain life. That is a bit of a weakness of this deck because we don't really have infinite X. But, you know, another Wound Reflection, which is great. Then Profane Transfusion, another one where we can swap our life totals just in case. This one can be quite relevant where we can swap our life totals and then next turn hit them for a giant X. So, you know, can be quite nice. All right, so those are some of the big spells. Next, we've got some trigger doubling. So with Trionic Resonator, we can copy our triggered ability from our commander. So this is all this is for, just to copy some of those triggered abilities, maybe on Kakusho or something like that. But really, it's for Maga just to do double that damage, which is nice, and it only costs 2. Lithiform Engine, same thing. To copy the triggered ability that comes with Maga. But the nice thing is this can also copy target instant or sorcery. So for some of those X instants and sorceries that we play, you know, you only have to pay 3 and then that effect is going to be double. So X can be, you know, much less and we can then double up. As well as coming in permanent, if I wanted to copy some ramp or something, I could, but usually I don't come into that effect. And then Panharmonicon, there we go. So this one just to double those enter the battlefield, really just for, you know, Maga here, just to kind of double it. But those doubles are really nice because then X doesn't have to be as large. All right, so protection. Never leave your house without protection. And with this one, you really need it. If anything, this is probably the category that I can probably start to try to tweak a bit more and try to put some more in, because you have a win condition in your command zone, so people will get a bit scared, but then it looks like you're not really doing anything, so people will then have a habit of leaving you alone. But having this protection is still great. Maze of Ith, just to get you know, get those big creatures out of combat, those Voltron, get them out of combat, stuff like that. Darkness has become one of my favorite cards lately, but the amount of times that this has just got somebody, it's so cheap just leaving it 1 mana. Sometimes I just need that extra turn and this can really turn it around, and just leaving it 1 mana when I have so much mana is quite easy to do in this deck, and I've quite liked this one. Nice little gotcha. Imp's Mischief, just for something that's going to target something big, that's going to target you. You can definitely switch around. Sudden Spoiling, another one where it's kind of like Darkness, where it's going to kind of fog the attacks, are quite nice. And then No Mercy. This one I like to see if I can get down early, just to kind of deter people from attacking me. A lot of them don't really want to get rid of their small value things, so they'll just kind of, you know, just leave them sitting there, and it won't be until the later game when they've got bigger things that they'll risk, you know, getting rid of it. Okay, so some draw. In this, like I said, I don't have a lot of draw. Another category that probably I can help to tweak. But Daniel Pack, I don't really play in any other deck. It's just this one's got an X in it. It is target player, so if we need, we can always mill somebody else. Essentially, you know, drawing them. You know, we might have X's 10, 20, and they might be low on their library. That is a possibility, but it's really to help us kind of fill our hand, maybe for the next turn where we're going to hit one of our spells. Night's Whisper, super cheap. I play this in pretty much every black deck. Sign in Blood, same thing. Phyrexian Arena, just to get that incremental card value, hopefully earlier in the game, and then Read Wounds. All right, some removal. So Defile, super cheap. We play a lot of swamps, so nice, great, gets around indestructible. Feed the Swarm to get rid of those enchantments. Maybe somebody's playing a Lane Line of Sanctity or something like that. It's quite nice. Infernal Grasp, just super cheap. Get rid of a creature. Soul Shatter. Soul Shatter I've been liking more. Essentially, it's a 3-for-1. It gets rid of their biggest thing. Usually, that's the thing that you want to get rid of anyway. Not always, but I have been liking it a lot more. 3-for-1 and instant speed, which is nice. And I'm holding up a lot of mana because I need things to put my mana into. So sometimes I'm holding it up, so it's quite nice. And then Deadly Rollick. I don't always have my commander out, so this one not always free. But like I said, I'm holding up mana. I don't really want to pay 4 for it, but sometimes, I'll get that Maga out and hopefully try to maybe start swinging for some commander damage instead. I can, take some value there. And then Hagra Mauling. This is a land, so, it's quite nice. Some board wipes. So Black Sun Zenith, this one's, an X spell, so we can put a lot of X into it. Not always something that I play, but it is a nice little X spell, and it'll get shuffled back, which is nice. Toxic Deluge, super simple. Same thing, X. Gets around indestructibles, can pay whatever I want. Damnation, another nice one. Gets rid of everything. And then Mutilate, I play a lot of swamps, so this gets a lot of things. Okay. And then land, so I play more land in this deck than any other, just because I want to make sure that I hit every land drop all the way up to turn 10. I want to be hitting those land drops. So Ancient Tomb, taps for 2 is great. Bajuka Bog, Graveyard Hate, really good. Cabal Coffers, play a lot of swamps, as you do in Mono Black. So this is really nice. Cabal Stronghold, play a lot of basic swamps. So this is really nice. Lake of the Dead is what I've been putting into that big mana kind of decks. So this one, it comes in untapped, which is really nice, but it does sacrifice that swamp. This one is a bit more expensive, but I mean, you could just put a swamp here. It doesn't really matter. This is not the be all end all, but it really helps with getting that last bit of, as amount of X as I can. Mirrored Landscape, great. Get those swamps out. Nixthos Shrine of Nyx. I have found that my devotion in this deck has not been really that great, but sometimes it's just taps for an extra 1 or 2. That's fine, but not at all really that valuable in this one in comparison to a lot of other decks that I build. So I did have Grey Merchant of Asphodel in this deck. That's something that I removed just because X wasn't particularly high, but even if you just get 1, 2 extra, it's fine. Strip Mine, I always play these hate lands, just to, somebody has their own Nixthos, their own Cabal Coffers, Field of Dead, all that kind of stuff, so help get rid of those. Temple of the False God, not one that I normally play in a deck, but, I do want to be playing lands every turn. Sometimes you're going to get but you're getting lands. There's lots of lands in this deck, so hopefully this doesn't actually hurt you too much. Thespian Stage, just to copy Cabal Coffers, Nixthos, stuff like that. Just Cabal Coffers, not Nixthos, that's legendary. Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth, just to turn all your things into swamps for your Cabal Coffers. And then for Suva, this can copy your Cabal Coffers as well to obviously get more swamps. But if I need, sometimes it just comes in as tap swamp. And then Wasteland, so I've just got some extra room for another hate land. I think 2's, decent enough. Hopefully I see 1 in a game, but yeah, I have quite liked both of them. Sometimes I find it hard to put that many in most of my other decks. And then I have 24 snow-covered swamps, so quite a lot. Just to make sure that I'm hitting that stuff for Cabal Coffers and Cabal Stronghold, and all those kind of stuff. So that's the deck. Maga Traitor to Mortals has been fun. It really is all in on X. Really all in on X. If your opponents are not that in a meta that's not really that attacky, not really using the combat step, then Maga is fine. If you're in a very aggressive meta, I probably would not be playing this one, just because it takes a while to kind of get yourself set up. You're basically just playing ramp for the first, 6 turns at least. You're looking to get to turn 10 where X can be 15, 20. So still not that high. So you kind of need opponents to be whittling each other down. It's a fun deck to see, how if you can survive and if you can really hit a big X spell. But, if your opponents are very aggressive, especially with your life total, you can start to feel a bit desperate. But sometimes you can just get a big Maga on the board and just, I don't know, swing out with people, swing out of them, and see how that goes. So I think I've only ever taken one person out with commander damage, but it's always good to then have this huge creature on the ground just to start threatening the board a bit. So it has been a lot of fun. I hope you like the deck, and thanks for watching.